Sales Made Simple this week. The Eggman, Richard Vickers. Mark, we're talking about the Big Mo, not the Missouri Tigers marching band. However, sales momentum this week.
Yes, sir. It is Momentum Week at US Food. So, some of us, Richard, might be surprised to learn that a key to sales success can be found in a book that was published even before my time, back in 1687, or that the same idea is the basis of a famous quotation by the creator of Mickey Mouse. So, curious to learn a little more now, Richard?
I, I think we probably got all of our listeners and viewers' curiosity piqued because today, obviously, we want to talk about momentum. And in sales, the first push seems to make a lot of difference. Every sales cycle, it begins with a series of actions. Let's go through them. Cold calls, maybe, meetings, some follow-ups, maybe some problem solving. And these first steps are crucial in generating Mark's word this week, momentum. It's kind of like this. It starts like if you're moving on a skateboard. You're standing still on a board while the wheels underneath you are spinning and they're ready for action. Maybe they're not going anywhere and they're not going to move by themselves. Then, with a little push, you're off and you're rolling. But how do you get the speed up on a skateboard? Well, you have to keep that momentum going.
So, yeah, Richard, back to this whole 1687 thing. So I'm not suggesting that Isaac Newton understood skateboarding that long ago when he published his text on the laws of motion, or that skateboarders or sales professionals, for that matter, can explain the physics behind it all. But we all experience these concepts constantly, and we instinctively know that it takes just a little effort to begin something, but less effort to keep it moving. Think about an aircraft carrier, Richard. How much effort it takes to start, but once it's moving, it's super hard to stop. Well, Walt Disney, when asked how to begin a new project, got right down to business. And he said perhaps others expect him to talk about creativity and inspiration, but he was much more practical. In fact, he said this, Richard: the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing.
Well, that's a pretty straightforward word of advice there. And that's great sales advice. Quit talking and begin doing, kind of like the old song, a little less conversation, a little more action, right?
Yes, sir. And once that momentum starts, Richard, as you just mentioned, keeping it going, well, it requires some consistency. In sales, I think this means sticking to your process, even when things aren't immediately falling into place like you might hope for. So, the key to sustained success isn't dramatic spikes in activity, but that steady, continuous, consistent effort.
And Mark, I think you and I both would agree that it's important to recognize that momentum isn't about intense, short bursts of work. Instead, it's about showing up daily, those consistent activities that we always talk about, making daily calls, scheduling meetings, scheduling follow-ups, and building relationships over time. Sales professionals, all of us really, should focus on daily habits, focus on your customer, the follow-up, redefining maybe your sales pitch, because consistency turns small efforts into big results.
Yeah, and you see, Richard, and I love that word results because I think that momentum actually thrives on success, no matter how small that success is. So, with that as a backdrop, then we should be thinking about how we celebrate each win and use it to fuel those future efforts. Closing that big customer opportunity or reaching a target, that shouldn't be the end of the journey. Instead, we should use that energy to dive into the next opportunity. And when you succeed in one area, guess what? That positive energy will spill over into other areas of your work as well. So after closing that sale, Immediately follow up with other leads or re engage with clients who've been quiet because that's when you'll have the most momentum and the most energy. A win then gives you credibility and it boosts your confidence, which increases what? The likelihood of even more success.
Yeah, Big Mo in action. Friction, Mark, in sales is probably, I'll say this, I'll go out on a limb and say friction is inevitable. Lost deals and maybe some difficult customers or market changes, they can slow down or halt anyone's momentum. So the key is not letting those setbacks stop your forward motion. And when faced with challenges, sales professionals should focus on controlling what they can, or the old saying, controlling the controllables, your attitude, effort, and approach.
Yeah, one of the most effective ways, Richard, to keep that momentum going during tough times is to break things down into smaller, more manageable pieces. That's kind of how we live our day as a sales professional in food service. That then creates a sense of accomplishment and progress. So even when the bigger picture, like I have to go hit this big sales target, is daunting, persistence in the face of challenges, it's what separates the top performers from the rest in the world of selling. I don't think momentum in sales, Richard, is a mysterious force that appears out of nowhere. It's something we create through, as you mentioned, that consistent effort, celebrating those small wins and being resilient in the face of a challenge. So, by focusing on those repeatable skills, on those daily habits, leveraging the success you've already had, and supporting each other as a team, guess what? You can keep those skateboard wheels spinning and build even more lasting success.
Back to skateboarding. Man, I know what we're doing this weekend. So, Mark, and I think you taught me this lesson. Momentum begins with that strong start, and those first moments in your day or week are critical for all of us to set that momentum in motion. A powerful launch means ensuring a positive mindset, setting clear goals, and attacking your day with energy and purpose.
Yeah, so Richard, how about we end this session with a couple tips and a few questions?
I like it.
Question number one: are you ready?
Yes.
Here's a couple tips. Number one, plan with intention. Outline what success looks like every day for every part of the week, and identify what are your key objectives today and your actions that will help you achieve that success. And then, Richard, as we've been learning from athletes and positive psychologists, visualizing what success will look like,
Mm.
making it specific, will create a crystal clear picture and allow you to achieve your goals even more quickly.
And number two, Mark, focus on top opportunities. Prioritize your customers or profitable prospects in a way that will have the biggest impact. Commit to interacting with these valuable contacts early and often.
So, Richard, here are the three questions. Number one, what steps will you take first thing in the morning to kickstart your momentum? A
Hmm.
morning routine to get that momentum engine burning.
And number two, Mark, what habits will we build consistently to start each day with that winning mindset?
And finally, question number three, how can you ensure you'll stay focused on your highest value opportunities?
Well, talking about Big Mo this week, big momentum. Let's get selling, and it's time to quit talking about it and begin doing. For Mark Eggerding, I'm Richard Vickers. This is Sales Made Simple.